Good morning, students. Let us go ahead with coordination chemistry, and this is a session 17. In today's class, we shall be studying the valence bond theory, complexes with coordination number 4 of copper. So we are in the last class we had studied complexes with coordination number 4 of nickel. Again, recollecting the valence bond theory, the central metal ion in the complex will make available adequate number of empty orbitals for the formation of coordinate bond with suitable ligands. Appropriate atomic orbitals S, P and D of the metal are used to undergo hybridization, forms equal number of hybrid orbitals which are directed towards the ligand position according to the geometry of the complex. Each ligand has at least one orbital containing a lone pair of electrons. The empty hybrid orbitals of the metal ion overlap with fully filled orbitals of the ligand, forming ligand metal coordinate bond. The d orbitals involved in the hybridization, if are n-1 d orbitals, it will be called an inner orbital complex, and if the d orbitals involved are nd orbitals, it is going to be an outer orbital complex. So, complexes with coordination number 4. Nickel, copper, platinum, palladium form mostly coordinate entities with 4 coordinate entities, and with coordination number 4, the probable geometry will be either square planar or tetrahedral, and it uses, in the formation of this geometry, the central metal ion can undergo sp3 hybridization or dsp2 hybridization. Depending on the type of hybridization, there are 2 possible ways in the complexes of copper with coordination number 4. If the complex involves sp3 hybridization, it is going to have a tetrahedral structure, and if the complex involves dsp2 hybridization, it would have a square planar structure. So, complexes with coordination number 4. Copper has an atomic number of 29, and the electronic configuration is going to be argon 3d9 4s2. The structures of the complexes are usually detected from the magnetic nature. From the magnetic nature we can detect the structure, and if we are not able to detect it properly from the magnetic nature, magnetic properties, then X-ray diffraction is also going to be used. So, in some cases what was observed was, in the formation of copper complex, that is whether it is going to be in general it is going to be CuX4 2+, that is in +2 oxidation state, or in 2- when it is going to form such a complex and it is using sp3 hybrid orbitals. sp3 hybrid orbitals, the electron in the d orbitals is not at all used, so the hybridization is going to be a tetrahedral one. But if it is going to use 1d, 1s and 2p, 2p, then it is going to have a square planar structure. And to explain square planar structure of copper, X-ray diffraction had confirmed the structure of square planar, and to explain this structure, one of the d electron which is unpaired is shifted to the p orbital. There is going to be a rearrangement and it undergoes dsp2. So, the structure of copper complexes, some of the complexes can be explained using the magnetic theory, the valence bond theory, and in some case when there was no proper explanation and the structure was going to be a different one, X-ray diffraction had stated that is going to confirm the structure of such complexes. So, in case of complex of copper with coordination number 4, we are going to go ahead in this class regarding hexachlorocopper cuprate 2 and hexaamine copper 2 complex. So in this complex, we know the atomic number of copper is going to remain 29, and in its +2 oxidation state, it loses the 2 electrons and it has got 1 electron in the d orbitals. So based on the X-ray diffraction, it was predicted that tetrachlorocuprate 2 has a tetrahedral geometry. This can be explained using the valence bond theory, but the hexaamine copper 2 complex has a square planar geometry, and this is explained by the diffraction studied, and it is going to be a paramagnetic as it has got 1 unpaired electrons. It undergoes CuCl4 2 minus undergoes sp3 hybridization, while CuNH3 2 plus or tetraamine copper 2 complex is undergoing dsp2 hybridization. So in Cu2 plus, it has no electrons in the s orbital, whereas in the formation of tetrachlorocuprate 2, it has got 1 unpaired electrons. It has got 1 unpaired electrons, and in the formation of this complex, it uses 1 s orbital, 3 of the 4p orbitals, undergoes sp3 hybridization. The hybrid orbitals are going to be directed in a tetrahedral geometry, and 4 chlorine atoms having a lone pair of electrons are going to overlap on the hybrid orbitals, and the geometry is going to be tetrahedral geometry. This was confirmed with X-ray diffraction studies and even using valence bond theory. But in case of tetraamine copper 2, what happens is the X-ray diffraction studies shows it is going to have a square planar structure. In order to explain the square planar structure, there is going to be a rearrangement. One of the d electron which was present in the d orbital which was unpaired is shifted to the p orbital, and in the hybridization, if it has to form a square planar, it is using 1d orbital, 1s orbital and 2p orbitals. It undergoes dsp2 hybridization, and it has got 4 dsp2 hybrid orbitals, and over this hybrid orbital, the 4 ammonium molecules are going to occupy the hybrid orbitals, and the hybrid orbitals are directed in a square planar geometry. So a quick revision is going to be, in Cu2 plus, it is going to be paramagnetic in nature. Even in tetrachloro-Cu2 minus, it undergoes sp3 hybridization. It is tetrahedral. Oxidation state is +2. It has 1 unpaired electron in the d orbital. It is paramagnetic. And in tetraamine copper 2 complex, there is going to be a rearrangement. The d electron is shifted to the p orbital, undergoes dsp2 hybridization. The hybrid orbitals are directed in the square planar structure, and it is going to have a square planar geometry, dsp2 hybridization, and it is paramagnetic in nature. Okay, this is all about in the copper complexes. And in copper complexes, there was no study on coordination number 6. Okay students, thank you.